Okay, so this is gonna be a review for the Grammas Sausage Frank 3.0 or 3 plus, I think, but it's before he kind of did the, he was adding testicles. So it doesn't have testicles, but it does have the inner core. So let me just bring it up close. And I believe it is like kind of painted. I did get it secondhand, so I'm not entirely sure, but it's like painted a bit. The tab has been modified, and there's this little thing here because the person who was using it before, I think, like had something where they were like holding it like that, some sort of harness or something. But yeah, so this is it. It is the light color, like I think like some sort of paint job. And I actually traded my Gendercat for Reels Slim, so the one with the bigger balls, for this because I really wanted to try a Grammas Sausage. So yeah. And I really like the length of it. And I really like how you're able to like pull it up and it doesn't wrinkle. Something that happens with Gendercat is you pull it up and it wrinkles. And I also did, unfortunately, my cat scratched it, so it did get a little bit cut. Yeah, so I think the coloring is kind of nice. Although I feel like this was, you know, I feel like this was about a year ago at this point, so he's definitely gotten better with coloring. And, you know, like just to kind of show this, there's like this inner core, you could see that, super nice. To be able to feel that, but then there's also still things around it. And then if you want to get like a better look on the balls, um, coming from Gendercat to this, the build quality was a little underwhelming. You know, like I don't love that the tab has this kind of like look to it. This is like specific to the Frank model and maybe some other models, but I just really aesthetically don't like the way that looks. Also, right now, Grandma's doing like the 3D balls, and you know this is a bit old at this point, so it's not super accurate to what he's doing now, but I really just don't like how this is flat and like this is like a harder, like the back is kind of hard. It's thick, so it just like the balls are super nice, and I love that he offers the testicles, I think, for free, which is awesome. And then he does also offer, like, you know, if you get the paint, like the circumcision, like scarring. But yeah, I traded it because I really like the way it looked, and I do like the way it looks. I do like the way it packs. I just like there's some things with the build quality that just kind of bother me. And you know, this is a bit old at this point. It is secondhand, so, and he is doing the 3D option now, and he is like trying to make the tab thinner and all that good stuff. So like, you know, he's getting there. I just think that like he started the company like with the intention to give you more affordable options, and I think he kind of quickly realized that like if he's gonna add all these extra things to it, you know, it's not gonna be cheap. And I think his like, at least in my opinion, I think one of his main competitors in the beginning was Gendercat, and he just wanted to like offer something with like more molds and different looks and like just have like a better price point. But I think like now it's more of like he's offering I mean, the testicles are a great deal for what he's offering, but I think his, you know, overall his prices have increased since he started. He is kind of still, you know, in training, I would say. Like, his build quality still isn't like 100% where I want it to be. At least this particular product, like, I just, like, the aesthetics of it are not as refined as some other places. Like, there is detailing on the balls, but, you know, I mean, I am really excited to see where he goes in terms of like the life cast or live cast. I don't really know. I guess life cast products. Like, I'm really excited to see where he goes with that. That being said, like, I think he started the company thinking he was going to offer really good prices, and like right now that's like not necessarily where the company went. I think he does offer a lot of great options. He is like really down to customize, and like if you email him, like he will offer you something where it's, you know, more basic, or he'll work with you to kind of create what you want, which is really cool. But yeah, I just feel like for the price point, you know, like this is a little bit, you know, I'm not super happy with the build quality. That's just the main thing. But in terms of like, you know, how it actually feels, like it's amazing. I really appreciate like the balls are so nice, and even this is just like, no, I can't believe and no one's ever thought of doing this like inner core. Like, it's pretty amazing. Kind of like a bit on the taller side. I'm like 5'9", and I weigh like maybe 180 pounds. And I find it really comfortable to pack with. I do prefer something a little bit longer. I'm not sure that, like, the head is kind of a little harder, especially right here. There's like some hardness. And I'm not sure that it would pass kind of like, I mean, like, it does go down, and it is a very nice bulge. And I really like it, and I like kind of playing with it. And, you know, I think if my cat didn't scratch it, like, this would not have happened. And it is like pretty durable. I just am worried about this kind of splitting open. I don't know if it's gonna pass a grab test necessarily, unless maybe like it's like semi-hard situation. Oh, and here, so the inner core has, I guess, over time become attached to this top part. I'm not sure if it was always like that. No, these things do get expensive, like $300, and it is, you know, it's a novelty item, but it is kind of like, and it is like his art in a way, but it is just kind of more than I want to pay, I guess. Personally, I know people spend a lot more on stuff like this, but I just like personally, I don't want to drop like $300. So yeah, that's just like my personal opinion. I really like it, and it is like a beautiful packer. There are just certain things that, you know, like I'm just not super happy with in terms of like just how the tab is attached, how thick the tab is, which are things that he is addressing. So I think, you know, with Grammas Sausage, it's like kind of like the longer you wait, the better it gets. This is a gender mender. I believe it's a 4-inch, and the tab is also cut. I got it secondhand as well. But yeah, so you can see they're measuring 4-inch from here. And then you can kind of see, this is what I don't like about Gendercat. Like, it's wrinkling in a way that doesn't feel super good. Oh, and then Grandma likes to do this kind of test. So as you can see, like it does wiggle. I think this one is probably a little better. Yeah. For whatever reason, he makes it so it's like easier to kind of like flop around, which I think is great. I would say like this is pretty good as well. But it does do this little like thing, which I thought that it was just the For Reals line that did this, but it turns out it's all of them, so that's a little disheartening. But yeah, so basically if we put them side by side here, they're pretty similar. They really are pretty similar. So if you got the 4-inch Gender Mender, I mean, the difference is like with this one, you choose your colors. It's like $200. There's no inner core, which I think might help with like kind of like a grab test situation. Very, very similar. They're both, this is not a life cast. This is not a life cast. But I mean, if we're talking about like build quality, like this tab is just like infinitely thinner, which isn't even the main thing. It's just like this backing part is also infinitely thinner. You're kind of like 3D-ish balls going on. Build quality on this one is better. They've just been doing it for longer, I think. So, and they only have, you know, a couple different molds, whereas Grammas really offering you a lot of different options that are really nice. So I think, you know, it's just what you kind of want to pay for in the end. But yeah, and like, to be fair, like this is kind of older at this point, so I don't know if it's super fair to compare it, but just like looking at the difference, like to me it's kind of a big deal, I guess. I just like, if you're not coming from a place where it's like you already had something like this refined, maybe it wouldn't bother you. But it's just something that does bother me. It makes me feel like it's more fragile in a way because of how it's connected. They're very comparable. I think that the Frank is more expensive at this point. And so that's just something to think about. Like, what do you want to spend your money on? Like, is it more expensive though if you can get the testicles in there for the same price? Whereas if you get testicles with Gendercat, it's like $150 extra. So yeah, it's just kind of like, what do you want out of a packer? But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Okay, so this is the Grammas Sausage in my underwear. Yeah, it's a good bulge. It looks a little bit crazier, I guess, over there. I also just really like that you can kind of like hold it out and, you know, it doesn't wrinkle. Like, that's a big thing for me.